Hello everybody, this is David Thomas with Shelbyville Now. I'm sitting here with Mr. Bill Anderson today. He is a county commissioner in the 6th District, and we're going to be just having an open discussion today about the upcoming election and some other things. And we thank you for joining us. We'll be right back right after this. And we've got a big election coming up, Mr. Bill. And we've got 2 commissioner districts that are going to be contested, District 1 and District 5. So we've got that coming up. And then, of course, we've got our mayor and our sheriff race, which will probably determine our sheriff and mayor here in a primary.
And I think it's important that everyone listening know that basically your general election, basically for mayor and sheriff, is now. You need to go vote Tuesday. If you've not already voted, you need to go vote, because that is the election. This is different than in the past. And I think there's some confusion out there that I can go vote for whoever I want to go vote for in August and they're going to be on the ballot. Well, no. Come Tuesday, it's over.
We got one moving forward for mayor, one moving forward for sheriff, and if there's no contestant for the sheriff is decided. And then we have Misty Peller that will be running as an independent, going against Chad Graham or Brent Smith in the general, okay? And typically this primary, Republican primary, will decide that more than likely.
So I think you and I were talking off the record the other day about voter turnout. What was it last?
28. Well, last
time we voted for mayor, how many people voted? 8,000, 7,000?
Well, it was about 7,000 in the general election, but back in the primary, it was like 1,700.
And we're looking at, I think, the early votes 2,000 something.
2,800.
2,800.
Well, 3 votes from 2,800.
We're looking at 4,000, 4,500 people maybe vote total.
That will decide.
For a county of 50,000.
Right.
That's sad.
Right. Yeah, it is. But it is encouraging to see the primary vote up from the last primary we had. Now, I don't know if that's because it's more contested, but what do you make from that? 2,800 votes in early voting already, which is a big jump.
That's probably 60% of the vote. It may be more than 60, but that's still way too low, because this is a primary, but it is also basically a general election for the mayor and for the sheriff's race. So to me, that's awfully just terribly low.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. Everybody get out and vote. This is the election for mayor and sheriff.
Right.
So we've got those 2 races going on. Then we've got our commissioner, District 1. We've got Eric Maddox, Drew Hooker, and Chris Sarsfield. 3 great guys running in the Republican primary. 2 of them move forward, okay? And that is a dead heat based on the poll I put out. So that's a toss-up. And then we've got District 5. We have Kelly Fitch Sr., Scott Johnson, and Jeff Swinney. 2 of those will move forward.
And then that one gets a little dicey, because all of a sudden then come August, you've also, the 2 win, you're going to have Bo Wilson, who's been on there for over 20 years, a lot of experience with Bo. Linda Yockey's been on there for years, a lot of experience with her. And then you got Jim Walker and Tracy
Stressner.
So still, you're looking at 6 people. That's going to be a heated race.
Yeah, it will. That will. So that's going to be a long-term thing to look at here up into August. I think our commissioner race here in District 1 is going to be, you're going to have 2 of these guys move forward, and you'll have Don Gallagher running against, and you'll have 2 of those 3 moving forward. So, all right, Bill, as far as the commission goes, I've been watching some of the commission meetings, and I turn it on, I get my popcorn out, I don't even pop the top in my Coke, and it's over. All right, so I'm not seeing a whole lot of representation taking place at these commission meetings. I look at it, we're seeing, of course, the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance, the roll call, and then we approve minutes, and that's 7 or 8 minutes, and then we have maybe 10 minutes of 3 or 4 topics that get voted on, and there's usually not much discussion. So my question is, how are Bedford Countyans being represented at the commission level? We're all supposed to have 2 representatives. Correct. Okay, I don't hear much questioning. I don't hear any discussion. I just hear a yes or no vote.
Well, now the quarterly meetings usually last longer. I'm going to say the quarterly meetings because we have reports from the different department heads. Sometimes those go an hour. Here lately, the agenda's been relatively light, and the meetings have been somewhat quicker. However, to your point, the place for that was supposed to be a lot of debate and discussion at our committee meetings. But I will say that sometimes, yeah, and some of those committee meetings last quite long. But I don't know that there's not enough questions being asked. There's not enough transparency at times to me with the voters. And that's what I'm hearing from the public that comes in the office or that I run into on the street, and they would like to have more of it. And I would love to see more people come to these meetings than do.
Right.
Now, it's a little different because we meet at the high school because we're working on the courthouse up here. And I think that's been great at the high school. It's a great place to have it. I really like it because we're able to face the crowd.
Right.
But I am surprised at how low the turnout for some of the meetings is, unless you've got something really hot.
Yeah.
And then it'll get full.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that more people would come if the meetings were longer than 15 minutes and there was some actual discussion taking place. Now, I don't know. I could be wrong. I've never been to, I've been to maybe one or two commission meetings in my life. But I have been watching online recently, and I'm just like, okay, well, it's over before it gets started. And I'm like, well, what in the world were they voting on? And I really don't know. I hear about, well, like, for instance, I know the commission voted on giving the partnership, the Shelbyville-Bedford partnership, the authority to negotiate with some projects at the industrial park. I heard that. I didn't hear much going on as far as discussion.
If you had all 18 of us in here, I don't know how many of us are in the know about any of this, to be honest with you. I don't know I'm obviously there's a couple of them that seem to know a lot about it. And I have been fearful that we've maybe given that committee too much power. Because to me, we have committees set up for all these things without forming new committees.
Right.
I'm really not sure what's going on in the industrial park. The other night, for example, was the first time I had heard of Project Turquoise ever. Was in that county commission meeting.
Yeah, I watched that one.
I'm like, really? I mean, first I'd ever heard of it.
That was one of the long quarterly meetings.
Right.
That was where you're getting a quarterly report. And it lasted 17 minutes, I think.
Right.
Maybe this one got up over 20. But I didn't hear a lot of answers to
no,
questions.
We're not getting any answers.
Okay, so
what is Project Cardinal? Obviously, it's something they say we can't discuss it. Maybe we can't. But I've read the Times-Gazette article, for example, and it said the SEC, and maybe that's right. But I thought that was a stock trading thing.
Well, that's if a public company is involved, they can't disclose stuff until they make an official statement, which it could be. I don't know, but I can't. The way I understand it, we're going to have 200 employees employed by two companies that will fill the entire industrial park up. Okay, I don't see those being
which is
publicly,
roughly, I think, somewhere around 90 acres. So I don't know that that's just two things. When I thought of the word park, I think of multiple businesses, not one or two. That's just what my thought was.
Okay, now this discussion that we're having right now, this should be taking place at the commission level, I think. I mean, because it's honest questions that people have. Now, if the city and the county had not come together and spent taxpayer dollars on that land, I don't think the public really gets involved that much because it's not their money. But this is our money we're talking about here. And if it's going to be negotiated for something, there should be a little representation at the committee level for each district. And that's not happening now. The way I understand it, each committee has maybe, 4 or 5 members and maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 districts at tops represented in those committees. So maybe...
And even when they have these meetings, and I'll just go on, and David, anybody that knows me, and I've complained about this for 8 years, and I'm going to complain about it again. Why do we have to have these meetings in the middle of the day? Even these the meeting with the partnership, 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, you work, what are you supposed to do? There's several of us commissioners that can't. The ones that are retired or work for the county seem to be able to go, but not the ones of us that work. And I don't understand why they have to be in the middle of the day. And I'll go back to maybe even the finance committee, where a lot of the action does take place in finance. It's at 4:15. Well, those of us that work, we can't be there. I haven't gone to one of those in a long time because I shouldn't have to take off work to go to it.
Exactly. That's another issue. That gets down to transparency, making things available for the public.
And the public also, if they wanted to come and it's in the middle of the day, the public's working.
Oh yeah,
and that's just been a concern I've had for 8 years with 2 different mayors, and it's not, and that's not changed.
Maybe if we get some new commissioners in place, that this will be pressed and it'll change. Maybe. I hope it does. All right, so.
And you're going to get, by the way, like Commissioner Castleman and Commissioner Brown, two fine men, they have retired or retiring. You will be getting two over here in District 8, John
Right.
Boutwell and Jason Boyette.
Yeah, right.
So that'll
They'll
be two new ones there.
And they are on the
They're on the Republican.
primary ticket, but they're going to be automatically in.
Right.
Because they're
Correct.
uncontested in August, and they both move forward.
So I think you're looking at possibly anywhere from 5 to 7 seats can change here.
Okay, well maybe
And the magic vote, when you're talking county commission, and Bo Wilson used to say this well, you got to count to 10.
Yeah.
And really that's true, because 10 is the governing number
Right.
for the commission. Right. But even if we could get to 8 or to 9.
Yeah, well, if enough people, I think, on the commission would step up and say, look, guys, we need to make sure we're representing Bedford County.
Right.
And we need to make these changes. To do that, at least give a little bit of transparency and have a little bit of dialogue going
Right.
on in the public format, so that people can see, hey, our commissioners are actually representing us.
And to me, being a county commissioner, and I think Adam Thomas, and I've been fortunate, this will be 8 years for me, that I have served with Jeff Yos, who was a really good commissioner, Chastity Gunn, and now Adam Thomas. And one thing, when I was talking to Adam about this, and I told Chastity when she got on here, the number one thing about being a county commissioner is you've got to be a steward of taxpayer dollars.
Right.
And you're also the voice for that person who doesn't have a voice.
Right. Right.
And and I'm very conservative when it comes to money, because it's your money. And Paul Parker, the old former mayor, used to have a saying, and I took this, and I think it was 18 years old when he said this to me. He goes, if you ever get involved in politics or government at all, if you'll spend the money like it's your money, your personal money, you'll never have a problem.
Right.
And I think sometimes we take a grant. Well, it's a grant, it's free. Well, no, it's not free. A grant is still, it may not be derived from the county taxpayer, but it is still taxpayer dollars.
Right.
Any government money from some taxpayer, it's still tax dollars.
Right, absolutely. Well, I think that maybe this election will make some changes. I hope so. And I look forward to seeing how this plays out. Speaking of that, let's see, Tuesday is our general election. I mean, our primary. People will be going to the voting booth starting at what time? 8 o'clock, 7:30?
I think it's 8. I don't think we start early
Okay.
here. I may be wrong on that, but I think it's like 8 o'clock. I believe.
But the polls close at 7? I believe it's
that's
the way it
correct.
is. I've got this card here, but it doesn't tell what time the polls, but I'm pretty sure it's 7 that they do close. And we will be giving some live coverage beginning at 6:30 p.m., live streaming right here. Mr. Bill, you're going to be here.
I am. I appreciate it. We're going to have a good time.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. And we're going to get these results back as quick as we can, so we're going to keep you up to the minute. We'll also have Mr. Ben Craig. He'll be here, and also Bo Gill.
Benjamin.
Yeah, Bo
right.
Gill will be here. There'll be 4 of us. And out of us 4, we might be able to get these results communicated to you so you'll know what's happening. I look for the early voting numbers to come in quick, and on the mayor and the sheriff, I think we'll see that those right there are going to be decided in that. I think you said 60%. My poll says 70% were voting early. You never know what's going to happen.
Don't know.
And you don't know. The weather's supposed to be bad Tuesday too. Maybe rain will hold off and we'll get more people out. But it's very important you get out and vote Tuesday if you hadn't already. And Bill, you got anything else you want to add?
I want to thank you for what you've done with these candidates in this forum here. And you remember 4 years ago, I think it was 3 or 4 of us commissioners, and there was a budget issue.
Right.
This is the only avenue that some folks have, is this, to know what's going on.
Right.
And it's just been great that you've had the candidates on. It's been wonderful. It's a great community service of what has been done, and it's getting the word out.
Right.
I mean, used to, back in the day, the radio station did a Meet the Candidates thing. We haven't done that in years. If it wasn't for what you've done here, there would have been none of that for any of these.
Well,
and
I want to give a voice for every candidate out there.
Absolutely.
Now, if we've got independent candidates coming up for August, I know some of these folks will want to get their message out. This forum is open for everybody. It's not for a select few. I sent out an invitation for every candidate. And you see the ones that have shown up and told their story, and we appreciate them.
I will say one thing, if you don't mind. Well, this Republican, Democrat, and independent thing, we don't really have any Democrats here per se. There's a lot of independents. But my daughter's Julia Reagan Anderson. I named her after Ronald Reagan. I'm as conservative as they come, and I run independent. Now, the reason I'm saying that is I don't know that this is a national thing to where it's Republican, Democrat, as much as it is conservative with money and not conservative. So when you're thinking about a commissioner, how's he going to be with your money? Is he going to be conservative, or is he just going to keep spending?
Right.
And at some point, we have, and I've said this, I said it 4 years ago, and I'll say it again, we continue to grow our government faster than our economy.
Right.
And that's been a problem for at least 8 to 10 years. And I think it's still a problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We continue to grow the government while our economy over here is doing this.
Right.
And it is not sustainable long term.
When your local government is your largest employer, you've got an issue.
Yes.
So we got to get that corrected.
Yes.
All right.
And I'll back to the growth thing. And I know we're growing, people, and I get it. But if I wanted to live in Murfreesboro, I'd move to Murfreesboro. And at some point, if y'all can see the traffic that's here, I don't know what we're going to have to do. However, I think we may be going a little too fast possibly in some areas and some things, because I don't want to wake up in 10 years and we don't recognize this wonderful town and county that we live in.
Right. And we have outrun our infrastructure at this point. So we got catch up mode there with roads, schools, services, all that stuff.
And I'll say what I said in the meeting, going back to the industrial park, not to ramble, but whatever jobs are being brought in here, I fully expect Shelbyville, Bedford County people to get those jobs, not busing them in from somewhere, not from another county, and bringing them down here. Because we don't need any more people, to be quite honest here. What we would like to see is, I've always heard there's 10 to 15,000 Bedford Countyans that drive out of county to work. Wouldn't it be nice if those people did not have to drive to another county?
They can get up and be at work in 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Instead of driving 30 and 40 minutes.
So whatever is coming, it needs to local people, local jobs.
Right.
Because there's going to be subsidies given to these companies, and you're going to give them in lieu of taxes and all this good stuff. And if that's the case, it needs to be employing local people.
Absolutely, 100%. Bill,
and I hope that it does.
Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your
I'm looking forward to Tuesday night.
And we look forward to seeing you guys Tuesday night. Just tune in with us at about 6:30, and we'll get that rolling. And we're going to have a lot of special little features in the mix while we're waiting on those results to get in. But be sure and tune in on Tuesday night. We look forward to hearing from you. We'll have live chat rolling so you can ask questions then. Look forward to seeing you then. Thanks.